I'd like to call to order the March 6, 2025 Montecito Board of Architectural Review Consent Calendar. Item C1 1368 East Valley Road. Or is anyone here for that, please? Is that him? Yeah, that's him. So Joshua, we're reviewing your project. Stacy, do you have any comments about that, please?
I have none. There's no landscape associated with it.
And you felt that the documentation of the perimeter landscaping was sufficient?
I did.
Okay. And I did too. I don't see anything here that we need to review, so we will recommend for final approval when the board comes. Okay, Joshua, if you want to stay around, you can. To date, the full board has never contradicted the consent calendar, but there's always a first. So item C2, 170 Butterfly Lane. There was a memo, so the planner memo that had no comment. Is somebody from Becker Studios here? Daryl, are you here?
Yeah, hi, John. Daryl Becker here.
Okay, Stacy, did you have any comments about this?
I had one question about this, and it has to go to Derek. I don't know if anybody's on the line from Arcadia.
They should be. They're not on. Maybe you can direct it to me and I can help you with it.
The only question I have is why mulch for the parking area along the street?
Right.
I noticed it's called out as mulch as opposed to like gravel.
I mean, we're agreeable to gravel. I think it was just it's a soft area now, and people park on it like that now, but there's no reason we wouldn't do gravel.
That would be my only recommendation. Everything else looked fine.
Derek is on right now. Derek?
Gravel versus mulch.
For the parking,
We'd agree.
Derek.
Okay, and then on PDF page 28, please.
28. This is the lighting plan.
Why is there lighting right out there at the street? I assume that's on the street side of a hedge or landscaping or something. I didn't understand why that was there, please.
Well, so John, the right of way, the road is much further west of the right of way. In other words, it stacks off to the west. And so this is just right at the boundary line of the edge of the landscape.
Can you speak up just a little, Daryl, please?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say that the road alignment is much further west. So the landscape lighting that we put there is just sort of edge lighting at the edge of the bottom of the hill of the property. It's intended to just be ambient lighting.
Okay, so on February 11, the board is, just 3 weeks ago now, the Board of Supervisors passed a lighting ordinance that said that no light greater than 0.1, I believe it's foot candles, should be allowed at the property line. And that's very restrictive. I understand it. I think that it's correct, to tell you the truth, to try to keep Montecito, but it wasn't just for Montecito, it was throughout the entire county. And I have some questions about whether or not that's actually going to comply with that.
Okay, I mean, we're happy to edit it down. We're not trying to, not trying to overly light this. It's quite a large property exposure, and I think we've got 6 lights there.
Can I add?
Yes, please.
That area has historically been a parking area along the edge of the street. It's one of the few spots for turnouts for both these owners or guests or the public. So we have a stairway going up, a new set of stairs going up from that area to access the entry to the house. So we just felt it was in keeping to have a little more safety lighting at the edge of that parking.
Well, I have no problems with the stairs. I think that's very wise. for safety, if for no other reason. And I think it will help direct people up to that front door, which I think will also be good in the sense of providing guidance just by finding that glow. But because of that ordinance that was passed, I have a lot of trouble with those other lights at what is the edge of your developed area. Is there any possibility you could take those out?
Yes,
I mean,
obviously, we would
there's
be
6
willing.
There's 6 of them there that we could delete, that it wouldn't be a problem. I think the intention was to just provide safety for walkers along the walkway, and let's just pull them out.
There is no walkway out there though, is it? That's a
No,
parking area.
there is, John. I mean, the county's requiring these walkways on every property. So there is a walkway on every property that is designed now in Montecito. So on the south and the north side of this parking area, we have a sidewalk, and he's got 2 lights on the lower section and 1 light on the upper. And what he's done is he's added another 4 lights in the middle so that they walk across the parking area. So the sidewalk connects to the neighborhood parking area that's been there historically.
I don't see lighting in other areas as I drive around at night on those pathways. I don't mind the consideration, I think that it's thoughtful what you're doing. I'm just trying to keep the place dark.
Yeah.
If that's possible.
No problem. We'll take the 6 out and we'll just leave the 1 in at the bottom of the staircase.
That'd be, I think that's perfect. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Do you have any problem with that?
No, not at all.
Okay, anything else from you?
Nope, just,
That's it.
did we agree that just go with gravel in the parking as opposed to mulch?
Yes, sorry, I
Yes.
was muted when we were talking about that.
Okay, okay.
We are on for preliminary. Is there anybody here attending the meeting either in person or online that would like to address the board on item C2-170 Butterfly Lane, please?
No request to speak.
Okay, so I'm ready to recommend for preliminary and final would be half an hour or so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Items with those 2 comments, gravel and the 6 lights. Item C3690 San Ysidro, is there anybody, Daryl, are you here again for that?
We're here again for that, and we're excited about it.
And so are we, Daryl. Okay, so did you have any comments about this?
No, actually, the planting that they're adding is very minimal and it looks fine. And the calculations on the irrigation seemed reasonable. Everything else looked great.
Okay, can we go to, I think it's PDF 38? There was, so maybe it's the next page. No, previous, no, up. One above it. There was a gate,
Detail?
no, there was lights in front of the gate. On the lower left-hand corner, it's not in color on this one like it was in the other, those little X's. Same comment that I made the last time. Is it possible to get those out, please?
I guess.
And
mean,
your
I could-
comment, Derek?
I could point out lights at entries to homes all over Montecito, John.
I mean,
If
how
you
many
want
do
them
we-
out, we'll take them out.
You have a comment? They're
Um,
right,
I'm
they're
looking
right
at 'em.
here.
Yeah. I'm also looking at where it is on the road, in San Ysidro.
Derek, how many lights do we have shown at the front there?
Just 2.
A lot of walkers in this neighborhood.
You know, are you
I-
sure they're lights, John? Because this is an irrigation plan. I don't see
Well-
anything.
The
I
30
thought that those X's, maybe it's down on the next page. Down. Zoom in right up
They
on,
have it on
we
the
should
lighting
be on-
plan. It's
should
here.
be in LL1.
LL-1.
yeah, right there. Maybe it's 4
Okay.
even.
He's got,
Okay.
there's 4 lights outside the entry gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You see it on the left?
Do you have lights on the gates?
No,
No,
just
they're
have-
just path lights.
We
Most
just
people
have
have lights on the
formal-
gate, so I would be okay keeping the path lights because they didn't light the gates on the columns.
And these are the standard FX, like 18 inches high,
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yes.
okay? And then the other thing, just, Daryl, this isn't really part of us, but you did not call out 16 feet clear on your gate. And there is some kind of a cornice up there.
Right.
And right, so I think you ought to just take a look at that. Because
Thank you.
they may nab you after it's built,
Got it.
which would be the wrong time to get it. So again, we're on for preliminary final. Is there anybody here for item C3690, San Ysidro Road, please?
No requests.
Okay, so we will recommend
Yes.
with the lighting that they've got,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Okay, and
Bye, guys.
item C4. Oh, okay, 2480 Sycamore Canyon Road.
Yep.
When did you review these?
Last night.
Okay, so I think the revised plans were there by then? Yeah, okay. Um, did you have any comments, please?
No, I think they did a good job. They actually took all of our recommendations and stepped the building back and on the facade and made larger windows. So I was happy.
Yes, and not only did they do that, but they also got it over the goal line for final, in my opinion, by adding some of these sheets and the lighting fixtures, which was not there on Tuesday. So is there anybody that would, so you're good with it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is fine.
Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item C4, 2480 Sycamore Canyon Road, please?
No requests.
Okay, so we will repeat that. So we're done for right now. Okay,
Good.
so can we go? I'd like to call the March 6, 2025 Montecito Board of Architectural Review to order. Item number 1, public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on an item not before the board today?
Perhaps we do have a hand raised. Randy Jaffe?
Randy? Are you here
Yes.
for, yes,
I have
And your
thank you. I have a question, or actually a few questions in regard to the 612 Cows Road project. Is this the
Uh,
right time to say that, or?
no, when that item comes up a little bit later, please let us know at that time, raise your hand and we'll address it then, okay?
Okay, sorry, just,
This is for, no problem. This is just for general comments not related to a project. When it's related to a project, it's item number 1, maybe 5-10 minutes from now. Please let us know, okay? And we'll call on you then.
thank you.
Agenda status report. Anybody else, public comment?
No additional speakers.
Agenda status report?
We do have a couple of changes. The biggest one is at item number 4, the applicant for item number 4 at 227 Hot Springs Road. The applicant is requesting a continuance to your next meeting on March 20th. The second change is.
Hold it. Is there a motion to that effect, please?
I'll move to continue item 4/2227 to March,
20th. So that was Bill.
March 20th, sorry.
Yeah, that's my comment.
Okay, is there a second, please? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? And the next one, David, please.
Next one is just minor text changes to the project description for item number C2. The planner emailed me and indicated that the grading quantities had changed. Instead of being 50 cubic yards of cut, it's 120. And instead of 50 cubic yards of fill, it's 130. And there was just one change on the zoning. It should be 2E1 and not 20R1. And so I don't think it's material for your review. We'll make sure it's correct in the minutes.
Okay. Anything else?
That was it.
Okay, minutes. Anybody got minutes? Comments? Okay, administrative agenda, MBA, our members informational briefing. Watson attended Board of Supervisors meeting on 2/11/25. Item number 1. Comment number 6. Perimeter is spelled incorrectly. Item number 4. Comment number 4. Consider reducing roof pitch. Is lowering roof pitch a better verb there? Or is reducing okay with everybody?
It's fine. It's the same.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of that.
Anybody? Well, it's just the technical.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a tip comment.
So should we say, consider lowering roof slope? Is that okay with everybody? Okay. And then item number 7, one member likely will add the word not support project with multiple driveways and 3-story element. And that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else?
Nope.
I will move for approval of the February 20th, 2025 agenda, minutes as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I will abstain. I was absent.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we have 4.
I think that we do have 2 abstentions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, so we can't approve it today.
So
Next time.
I don't think it's a big deal. I can put them on the next one.
Okay, so can you make those corrections, Kimberly, and then we'll review it at that point? We'll just, is that okay? Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Because we're going to review it again? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I will keep my agenda. My minutes.
I have mine too.
Okay, members informational, no, excuse me, MBA or members informational briefing. Anybody, anything?
We gone April 17th. That's it.
Actually, I have three things. As we all know, Roy Lee is our new supervisor, and I had a half an hour interview with him. He's going to get around to everybody, I think. And I got first pick, or he got first pick. I also attended the Montecito Land Use Committee at their request and gave a presentation on what we're doing, which my particular address focused on the FAR and some of the inconsistencies there, and side yard setbacks in particular. And I think side yard setbacks are going to be undertaken by, or variable setbacks by the planning department. I think a lot of people realize they're not quite as beneficial as we had once thought. And the last thing, as the architects here know, we need to do continuing education when we renew our license. And I've always been somewhat of a skeptic of all electric buildings and things like that. There was a presentation there that was pretty compelling, and I would recommend if you consider reviewing it now, just so that you bring your own self up. But it's looking, number one, that it's cost effective to do it, which I never thought before. And the amount of carbon that we're throwing into the atmosphere, obviously global warming can be significantly reduced by our actions. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. Staff update, anything, please?
Nothing from me.
Anybody? Kimberly, are you there?
I am nothing, thank you.
Rob Fowler and I are meeting people at Lotus Land on the 13th to do a walkthrough.
What day of the week is that?
I believe
Friday.
it is a Thursday
Oh, okay,
morning to walk through that project
excellent.
and the reservoir area.
Okay, excellent. Montecito consent agenda, we have 4 items. Item C, 1368 East Valley Road was that small just a small little project, which both Stacy and I thought was acceptable. And I would like to move for final approval as submitted. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, excellent. Item C2 is on for both preliminary and final. There was a memo associated with this with no comments. There was some street lighting that we chatted about in particular. And so I think PDF page 28 might get us down there. That's close enough. So there's that pullout on the upper left-hand corner of the drawing. It was called out as mulch.
Yeah.
And we suggested gravel, which they accepted, and they had some downlights along that parking area. And we asked them to remove those because we didn't think that they were needed. They accepted those changes. It is on for preliminary. Are there any comments from our board before we go on? It is on for both preliminary and final. So for preliminary, is there anybody that would like to address the board on item C2, 170 Butterfly Lane, please?
No requests.
I'll make a motion for preliminary final with the pullout area on Butterfly Lane to be gravel and to eliminate 6 downlights in that immediate area of the parking area. Is there a second?
Can second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, item C3, 690 San Ysidro Road. It's again on for preliminary and final, and I think at the end of the day, there were no comments about that. Do you agree with that?
I agree. There's nothing.
Okay, so, you guys want to take a look at it really quick before we do this, or just? This very fast. Okay, I think you'll remember it. It's nicely done. Okay, so is there anybody that would like to address the board on item C3, 690 San Ysidro Road, please?
No requests.
Move for preliminary and final for item C3, 690 San Ysidro Road as submitted. Is there a second?
So,
No, okay, fine. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? And item C4, that was the small project on Sycamore Canyon Road that was all lined up, and we'd asked them to offset the master bedroom addition. They did that, came in with final plans and things of that nature. And it is on for preliminary final, and we thought it was fine the way it was submitted. So anybody want to take a quick look at it? No? Okay. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item C4, 2480 Sycamore Canyon Road, please?
No requests.
I will move for preliminary final for this item as submitted. Is there a second?
second that.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, standard agenda. Item number 1, 612 Cowles Road. And was it Mr. Jaffe? This is your item. So when we're done, I will call for public comment in about 5 minutes or so. Okay? Okay, so Elizabeth, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, thank you very much. So
Okay,
the floor is yours.
thank you. So this is a very small addition. If you want to take a look at the site plan. It's an existing court area now. That they don't, when you enter their front door, you enter right into their living space. And so they wanted a little buffer. So we're adding an entry tower that also is going to add a laundry facility within the house and not have it in the garage. And what I've done is I've raised the plate height a little bit higher. So because we've got all of these competing roofs, if you want to look at the roof plan that I submitted, I think yesterday. So you've got all these roofs. Yeah, you've got all these roofs coming, so I have to create metal cant strips to be able to get the water to shed away. So you can see in the section that I've raised it enough to be able to get water around this tower to be able to get, not to diminish the water issue that might happen here because of all of these roof lines. We're matching the same materials in terms of the walls. We're matching the same windows. You can go to the elevations. So really the only elevation, the next one, these are existing elevations, the next one. So you can see kind of the hatched pattern for the stucco. So I've got the entry doors and then I have a window into the laundry room. So that's the only new elevation that neighbors are going to see. Everything else is kind of below the roof line. So you'll see a little bit of the tower, but again, I'm trying to create that in order to be able to get water to move around that new entry.
You go out to Google Earth or Google Maps, either one, and look down. The reason I bring that up is we've got several projects up on Coles, and I want to make sure that we all have an idea how much work is being done up there.
Oh, there is a construction project. I don't know if it's a pool behind this site.
So they're on the road up to the major projects that we've been looking at, but on
Yeah.
the downhill side,
Right.
on
And
the
I think
right-hand side, not on the left-hand side, which are the projects that we've been looking at. Okay? Okay, I just wanted to get everybody kind of, yeah. Okay, Elizabeth, anything more?
No, I mean, unless you have questions, again, we're trying to match everything in terms of the details, the overhang, the window materials. And again,
Okay.
entry addition is what we're adding.
Okay, questions. Let's go down the line. Dave, please.
No questions.
Stacy,
No questions.
Bill.
Elizabeth, I'm sure you probably you had the laundry there, so that there's no way to get a single door, even if it was wider, to center on that space, really, that tower.
Yeah, they really wanted to move the laundry area. It's in a really odd, you have to go through the living room to get to the garage, to get to the laundry, and it's just the door's placed in a strange place. So we were able to do this by moving some of that, and they'd like to not have to go through their garage and the parked vehicles to get to the laundry.
You don't really see, unless you're really searching for, you don't really see that from the street anyway, right? It's
Right,
kind of
it's-
down and screened
pretty-
off of the.
Yeah, you would have to get out of your car, go to the gate to be able to see down there.
Yeah, okay, that's it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Questions, Robert?
Can I see the floor plan, please? Oh, I see. No more questions.
And the elevations? Elizabeth, on the north elevation, you have what looks like in the living room, a unit. It's a single glass panel with undifferentiated, horizontals, where on yours, you've got that transom up there. Have you considered a single door, tall door, rather than a shorter door with a transom, please?
Did I consider or can I consider?
Excuse me?
Were you asking me the question or
Yes,
suggesting?
I was asking if you had considered
Oh,
a single door rather than a door with a transom light over.
we had taken a look at that. What they were hoping is to be able to reuse the door that's there now.
And it's glass, the front
Yeah.
door?
Yeah. It's that's what I've used. I've reused the existing entry door and just moved it forward. I played around with not having any glazing above the door, but I just think it needs it because of that, the height that's there.
And what about Title 24 and the fire department? Are they going to accept that existing door?
They may not, but I'm going to check to see. I think it was installed by the previous owner under a different permit, so I have to check to see what, I have the permitted set of plans for that to see what their U values are.
Okay, very good. Now, public comment. Is it Jaffe? Sir, public comment? Did you raise his hand?
Yeah, you just need to unmute yourself.
There you
We
go.
can't,
There we go.
now we can hear you, Randy. Thank you.
I'm sorry, this format is new to me, so I appreciate your help in this. And thank you for the time. We live next door, 610 Cowles Road. So I want to give some context and comments, and we're sort of representing a number of neighbors who have asked us to talk today. And so one part of this is just for the last, we've only been here 26 years, so we're new timers to a lot of the neighbors. And so we have a 20-foot setback from property line to property line that we respect pretty much. And when it doesn't happen, there becomes a big hoopla, and you'll have about every neighbor coming to talk with you about it. They initially proposed something that went up to the property line, and then it looks like that has been withdrawn, and they've scaled back just to the front. I want to make sure that's true, because I have to report that back. So is that true that they're not going to try to go to the property line on our side?
The only work being done is in that hatched area that says addition.
Okay.
Right there in the middle of, that's There is existing work, it looks like, but the only work they're doing is where it says addition.
All right, great. That is great news that we talked to them and they respected that and decided to not build in that setback. So we're very appreciative ourselves, and I will report back to a number of other neighbors. Second piece is they've done a lot of concrete work and rebar work and stuff on the property, and I was wondering if there's a structural engineer or licensed contractor, or there were permits that were required to do this. The architect is the mother of the woman who owns the property, so she knows all this stuff. And so I wanted to find this out specifically because that property has had soil movement. It had to be restructural. There had to be new caissons put in. Even these people saw that it was a little out of kilter, and so it's had some problems. And then the second part of that question is really if they're building more, do they need to put in more caissons so it doesn't have that kind of a structural problem again with more work afterwards?
This is well beyond the scope of a design review board. We're not building department, soils engineers. Did you get an agenda for this item, please?
Yeah, well, I have a notice of public hearing.
And there should be is it a man or woman, Keena? Female. Keena Lamb is the planner. Her name is on the agenda. Could you contact her with those issues? That's not anything for us to do here, but
So-
she will. Okay.
So just so I understand, so the addition is fine underneath, doesn't need to be a structural review, or is that something that she needs to look at? So I don't know what to ask in terms of questions.
We are a design review board only. We do not deal with structural engineering. So if you'd like to address it to Keenan, I
Okay.
think that she might be able to help. Okay.
All right. And then the last part, and you may not be able to help in this way either. They have not maintained their hedges, and we have 5 neighbors who try to drive along a road, and we have to constantly maintain their hedges because they fall over and then cars can't drive on it. And it's just disrespectful that the county's been out there. They asked everyone to maintain their hedges. If you drive up Cal's, it looks really nice, except for their house. And it's insulting that they said they don't have the money to do it, but they have the money to do this remodel. Now, the mom here, who's the architect, probably knows the answer to these questions, but it would be nice if they maintained their hedges on the frontage road and along our property so we don't have to spend money on this. And these 5 neighbors have to be frustrated with these neighbors, even though we know that they just want to flip the property and they think they're going to make $1 million, $2 million bucks, but still it'd be nice if they were neighborly.
Am I supposed to answer that?
Yeah, but you know what I'd prefer? I'd love you guys to talk not here, but amongst yourselves. Is that possible?
Yeah, sure.
Well, it'd be nice if you would hear why they haven't been neighborly for the whole neighborhood, because the neighborhood's frustrated.
Believe you're the only one that's frustrated that.
Oh, what? That's why I don't want you to do it here.
Okay.
So, do both of you have each other's phone numbers?
What is your phone number?
I don't give it over that we are being broadcast around the world and it will exist forever. Please don't give out a phone number now. So
give it to the planner.
The planner already asked
It's
me.
not just me who's frustrated.
Please
She's
give-
lying about that.
please give the planner permission to hand your phone number to Randy, okay?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Anything, okay, now, is that it, Mr. Randy?
That's totally it. So it's just this 250 square foot little building in the middle. Is that correct?
That's it.
All right. I will report that back to the neighbors.
Okay, very good. Anybody else like to address the board on item number 1, 612 Cowles Road, please?
No additional requests.
Okay, comments. Robert. Excuse me, comments, Dave. I was on the next one. Dave, comments.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty modest proposal. It's not really impacting the neighbors. The height is acceptable. The one question I had is there a way to match the amount of plaster between the eave and the door and the transom window that's similar to the rest of the house? I'm guessing because you're using that, reusing that existing door and trying to keep the proportions, you cut it a little tight. So I would suggest you study that and see if you can have a little more plaster over the door.
Okay.
Other than that, those are my comments.
Stacy, comments, please.
I have a lot to add to this. I mean, I think it's modest and acceptable, and I see Dave's point regarding the level of plaster. So, but I think I'd be good moving it to preliminary, final.
Bill, comments, please.
Yeah, again, very modest. The fact that you can't really see it from the street is good. I mean, my suggestion of trying to center something, it doesn't look like that's possible, so I think I can accept it as submitted.
Robert, please.
I'm not sure the transom is helping. I think it might look better without it. But again, it is pretty hidden and, you know, if you just have the doors, but you don't have a transom now, a lot of glass as it is. And speaking of glass, there are inconsistencies in the glazing and the breakups, like on the north elevation, which I guess no one can see particularly. If you are forced to get some new units of doors and windows, I would
Yeah.
try to get things a little more coordinated.
Yeah,
Other than that, yeah, it's pretty modest. I'm just looking at the architecture,
yeah.
making
That's-
a few
I
comments.
agree. I agree.
Okay.
So,
That's it.
Elizabeth, do you know when those doors were installed, what year, please?
I don't know, but that's, one thing that I'll take a look at the next thing now is to move to prepare the construction documents and have, the energy consultant take a look at that and see if this is gonna work or not. And if
Well,
it does.
what I'm thinking about is thermal break.
Mhm.
And my guess is that, I don't know this, of course, but my guess is these were long before thermal break, which is now a requirement, which means it's brand new doors. I'll bet you. Okay.
Okay.
So I for one, anybody love the transom window? No. Elizabeth, do you love the transom window? So maybe you could take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't see that this needs to come back to the full board. Does anybody?
No.
And Elizabeth, the reason I asked you to do the roof plan is, I'll be just flat out, I don't believe the size of those crickets. I think that they're gonna have to be a lot bigger because you've got to maintain a slope across those crickets, and that's gonna keep pushing things back and out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have someone take a look and calculate the water that's gonna run off and design them that way. I just did this quickly because I was asked to prepare that. I wasn't, it was a preliminary concept, so I didn't think I needed that, but I did it fast. And I know I have to take a look at that. I obviously
Okay.
don't want to have any water issues.
Okay, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so on to consent calendar for preliminary, final?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Please find a way to cooperate with the neighbor.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, item number 2, 1430 Greenworth Place. We're 1/3 of the way through the agenda.
Yay.
You know, if you guys wouldn't talk so much, we'd be out by. But who's speaking? Okay, ma'am. Okay, so this is item 2, 1430 Greenworth Place. Are one of you Blake? Okay, good, Blake. Thank you. Please, this is the first time we've seen this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we have, oh, well, nice project. MBAR can support the design. Some MBAR members expressed concerns about the garage orientation to the roadway, study options to provide additional screening, study options to reduce paving at the driveway and entry, consider reusing doors from existing garage, return with landscape plan, consider adding landscape architect designer to the project, add pool equipment enclosure designed to reduce noise to the adjacent neighbor. Sure, thank you very much.
We have our landscape on board now, and we got an arborist report back after we had entertained the thought of mirroring our driveway from the current location and aligning it with the entry gate. And then it came back and they suggested that we can't build that close to the oak tree that's on that side, on the west side. So we reversed it back to our current location, and then instead of our open metal gate, we revised it to have a more enclosed wooden gate that you can see our new gate design up on the top right. And we are keeping the existing garage doors. And then we reduced the hardscape significantly from the original set.
Pool equipment,
And the pool equipment is a CMU wall now. That's
where is that, please?
it's on the east side of the garage. Yeah, we have a sound wall.
Anything more?
We had a few design changes that came along with the process of updating our drawings. And one of them is the addition on the west side to balance out our ridge that goes through the center of the building. We squared off the footprint. So instead of having our fireplace on that north elevation off center and then the flanking doors off center, we recentered it and made that elevation, cleaned up that elevation. And then in the front entry, we have that long walkway, and it was kind of a hidden, undefined entryway into the house. We added a covered porch over that. We also raised the plate height. We have 7-foot plate height, and we're forced to have the existing doors in a lot of places are 6'6", and we raised the plate height to 9 feet. And then we also changed the roof pitch to 512 from a 312.
Do I read these correctly? Light gray is existing, dark gray is new.
That is correct.
And so did you want to look at some of the drawings to show us the elevations or?
Yeah, we can go through the whole drawing set. That's the site sections, existing conditions. You can see the porch that I added. We filled that in, but it's actually covered right now. It's just added into our square footage. Next. Here's where our roof pitch was raised and our plate height was raised because it was a really dark, enclosed, low volume space, and we helped boost it up. And then on the elevations, you can see we have added a little bit more detail to the doors. We also pulled the eaves back for shortened eave details and rake. Yeah, I think that covers our changes that we've made, and we have a full landscape set too. That was the large part of comments on the last time.
sorry. The landscape is inspired by the owner's love of the natural beauty of Provence and Santa Barbara. What you probably will notice the most is that the lawn was limited to the north side in the back. And there's an extension of native Nomo grass. Then there's a small area of Nomo grass on the east side near the barbecue. The long walk now to the west from the driveway to the main house. There is a vegetable and pollinator garden to the west of the walk. And the walk itself is lined with fruit trees, rose trees, and Mediterranean shrubs. The site is anchored by these mature oaks, so we put a lot of consideration into protecting them. They are underplanted with oak understory plantings, and then throughout the site, there's flowering vines, shrubs, and trees, small trees. And there is a reduction of impermeable hardscape throughout. So, for example, the master bedroom patio is now a clay paver that's sand set. And then the main entrance is a flagstone patio with planted diamondia joints. Thank you.
That it? Questions? Robert, please.
I'm looking for that exterior fireplace. Is that over by note number 2?
Yes.
Okay. Did you consider, since this is going Mediterranean, correct?
Yes.
I would wonder if you would consider beefing up the wall thicknesses at the larger openings. And other than that, it's a reasonable proposal. I'm
No
just-
comments. That was a
Oh.
question.
Yeah,
So the question is, would you consider thickening the walls at some of the larger openings?
We're talking about 2x8, 2x10. What do you
well,
just?
what is it
or
now?
punch it and set it back. It is existing is 2x4.
Yeah,
2x6 would be
okay.
a little bit better, and we can fur it out.
So the question is, would you consider that?
Yeah, I would consider that.
Okay, no more questions.
Bill, questions, please.
Go to the south elevation real quick. So the gates too, is that a sphere on top? What is that shape that you showed?
The
Gate,
the entry gate.
yeah.
It's an arched trellis.
On the entry gate, it looks like, yeah. Actually, while we're here, go back, sorry. The arches and the posts, is that a plaster finish on that?
Oh yes, that is. And it's gonna have plants growing up.
Had, so it's plaster wrapped. Had you considered another material there as an option? Maybe posts because of the spindliness of that?
We could consider that. I thought this would be good for plants to grow on, but yeah,
Question. Let's go to the entry.
it blended into the house a little bit.
Those are new arches, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the top of the gate there. Is that like a large sphere? Or what is that shape?
We're talking about on the top of the gate. Oh, yes.
Eyelash.
Yes, like a plaster sphere, yes.
It's a sphere.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect circle. Okay, thanks. That's it.
Stacy, questions, please.
Yeah, can you explain, looking at the auto gate entry, would you say that it's a Mediterranean inspired columns? Are these existing at all?
Oh, those are new.
Okay.
It's inspired kind of by our clients. Julianne was in the ballet, and she she had some inspiration images, and I took a little bit off of that, but and it gave it some character, and it feels like her. It was inspired by her.
Did you consider maybe slightly different proportions to the sphere and the column and the decoration?
I considered a lot of different styles. We went through a lot of different iterations, and this is the one that I thought spoke the best to our project.
And is the gate all wood?
It is.
Okay. And then questions for landscape. You mentioned a native mow-free fescue, but it's not actually listed what fescue genus species?
It's actually a blend done by Delta Grass.
Mhm.
So it's a blend of fescues. I don't recall offhand exactly what they are. Definitely red fescue, molate. I frankly can't tell you what's in the mix.
Like a Festuca rubra, mulatto
I think so,
combinations?
yes.
Okay, I'm familiar with that. Okay. Um, Those are the ends of, that's the end of my questions.
Dave, questions, please.
Bring it back to the entry gate. Actually, on your rendering, they aren't spheres. They're more of a different shape. Which one were you intending? Yes.
The sphere was the correct shape. The rendering maybe doesn't. Yeah, that's a sphere. Set on top. Kind of a
Zoom in on
sketchy,
that.
kind of sketchy rendering, but that's what I had intended on showing.
They look a little different. They've got sides to them.
Could
Anyways,
add some shading to that, make them a little bit clear. But it's intended on being a sphere, complete sphere.
okay.
Do you like this more than the spheres?
I'll wait for comments, but, and also, have you confirmed that the height of the gate meets the zoning requirements?
Yes, we've just completed a CDP.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can we go to the site plan, either the landscape or the one at the beginning of the set? In the middle of the drawings, below the existing garage are 4 squares.
Yes,
What is that, please?
vegetable garden.
Ah, okay, and that's number 1. Can we again do either Google Earth or Google Maps so we can see what's going on around this particular? Okay. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 2, 1430 Greenworth Place, please?
No requests.
Okay. Comments. We are on for preliminary final. Number 1, do we have enough for final? Number 2, is this the correct design for preliminary? Stacy, excuse me, Robert, please.
Again, I think it's a reasonable proposal. I think if you're gonna fur the walls out, you might as well put another 2x4 and, if you can go outboard, I'm not sure. I know inboard you would lose some interior space, but those larger openings, the 2x4 walls just do not pull off a Mediterranean look. So, I feel, I mean, if we're giving it final,
Well,
on-
it sounds like we're not, if the other members of the board also agree with that, I think that those details should come back.
yeah, I'd like to see a little more thought put into the whole Mediterranean theme. The chimney caps look good. It's just the thin walls that are kind of bothering me a bit. And I would study that some more.
mass bulk and scale, siding,
There-
general landscape concept, those are all.
Those are all fine with
Okay,
me.
so that's preliminary on your point of view. So Bill, comments, please.
Yeah, I agree with Robert. I think if you can get some depth in the window and doors, that's great, wherever possible. That south elevation to me with the spindly posts and the arches doesn't feel quite right. It's pretty well screened from the street, so maybe I'll let others comment on it if they don't have any thoughts on it. It certainly doesn't have a Mediterranean feel. I'd almost go to a post and beam concept there instead of the arches. And then the only other thing, which is kind of a visible part, is the entry gate. I think the proportions of the sphere are a little too large, and I would scale that down. I don't see anything wrong with the sphere, but definitely quite a bit smaller, I think. And in terms of the panels, I guess I could be okay with that. I'd almost do one panel instead of two and not paint it different color. I think if you're trying to achieve a Mediterranean, if it was all the same color, it might diminish that, and you'd have the shadow line to kind of help that. So, and I don't know if you have a light fixture selected there, but that should try to tie in with the Mediterranean field.
Page
So I-
36, PDF 36.
yeah, I think that whole pilaster just needs to be, yeah, that
But it's- I
fixture.
don't think it's night sky.
It
compliant.
said it was night sky, but
It's the only night sky compliant lantern,
as a,
yeah, of that fit, but it is night sky
Side.
compliant.
I don't see the source of the light, so I figured it was okay.
Comment I'll
Yeah.
make. Is that it?
I think so, yeah. Otherwise, it looks good. The house looks fine. And the additions you're doing.
Stacy, are you, comments, please?
I agree about the entry gates. They don't feel Mediterranean. They feel a little like, I don't know, Rococo or something, different era. And the proportions, I think, need to be restudied. I did look very carefully, though, at the complete landscape set and noticed a lot of your plants are miscalculated and listed as low that are actually mediums.
Actually, I took those from the Santa Barbara addendum for WUCOs, which is still in
Mhm.
use. And that's where I got the calculations from.
That's where I went and looked as well. And swimming pools, are a 1 on the calculation.
Those are.
Always
yeah.
special water areas are all calculated at 1. You had them at 0.9. Philodendron Xanadu, that's still a medium water use plant.
And the
But also too, you can't declare a no-mow lawn unless you put the genus and species on there, because Festuca rubra is a medium-high water use plant here, even on the addendum on WUCalls for Santa Barbara.
Yeah, it is a blend, and according to the company, it's low
Okay,
water use.
But you have to list it,
Okay,
yeah. So it needs to be completed.
Okay.
Um,
are you not accepting the Santa Barbara WUCO's addendum?
No, I am, but some of the things on there, they're still not correct, especially the water features are still, those are always listed as a 1.
Those, oh, okay.
Swimming pools and water features, you have them at 0.9. Yeah, and they need to be a 1, and everything has to be maximum numbers for the, for instance, if it's a low, it needs to be a 0.3. If it's a medium, you have to go with the maximum number because you want to get your maximum allowed water usage.
Okay, I can
It's
recalculate.
in your best interest.
Yeah,
That we advise this way and not otherwise. But overall, like some of the planting, it's fine. I don't have problems with the planting itself. It's just more the calculations and being more thorough with your information.
okay.
Okay,
Sir?
yeah. Wasn't
Okay,
it?
please, comments?
As far as the architecture goes, overall, I like the kind of transformation you're making from when you look at the existing elevations and the new. And the feeling, I think there's some kind of eclectic, unique things to that, but I don't mind that. I agree that the openings would look much better if you had some depth and recess, but I can support the project the way it is too, if that's a financial or space hardship. The entry gate, once I heard where it's coming from, I appreciate it more, and I'm actually up for it. Even though it's not totally consistent, I think, in a way, I think it's very unique. the sphere doesn't feel right to me, and I think in your renderings, it's much better when it's got a flat bottom and
Yeah.
shape to it as opposed to a perfect sphere, so I would encourage you to go that way with it. But overall, I think it's a nice project.
Can we go to PDF 36? Lower left-hand corner. There's a number, Blake, there's a number associated with that light fixture. I went out to the internet and looked at that, and it says that that fixture can accept a screw-in bulb.
Can accept or
Can,
meaning it
C-A-N, can accept. Oh, I think that there are other numbers for that fixture that have everything uptight up top where it belongs. And I think you just need to get that number correct, please.
Okay.
The product number.
Yep.
I'm not questioning the size, shape, the clear glass. It's just, I think you've got the wrong call out on the, and therefore we'll get the wrong fixture on the job, right?
Yep.
And besides that, what I'm hearing is everyone's in favor of preliminary.
Mhm.
But my sense is that it's not quite there for final, and that there's enough things that we can't just get a couple of little comments, that it ought to come back at. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
not
think that
consent.
there's more in the woo calls than maybe you might want, because here's where we're coming from with that.
yeah,
Optimum use
yes.
is the higher number. Fairly sustainable is the lower number. So we want people to design it this, because when we have the drought, okay, so that's why we're asking what you're doing. And then I think Bill's got some good points.
Yeah, I appreciate his comments. They were good.
So I'd like to move for preliminary approval with the applicant to return on consent to study the wall thicknesses, to ensure, let's just leave it at the wall thicknesses, the trellis on the south elevation,
The
right?
entry porch.
The entry porch on the south elevation. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that has to be restudied, yeah.
And I'm just going to say, in general, the entire entry column, and what has helped me understand things in the past is for you to provide an image and say, this is what we're going for. And sometimes those images end up on the drawing so that you can help guide the contractor, et cetera. But there's something a little, it's not,
I think his rendering actually shows David, could you go to?
yeah, it's different than the,
In the elevation, yeah, the rendering's better than the elevation.
Shows you, I mean, if it was planted out, I can accept the spindliness, but if the plants weren't
Oh.
there, I agree with Bill.
no, that's the south,
Oh.
the entry.
Kind of fitting with the neighborhood too. If
Oh.
you go around, there's a neighbor gate that looks similar style.
Okay, well, photographs
Tell it.
add authenticity.
Is there any way we could do this without having to come back because we're so far along with the building permit and everything else? And
Consent calendar, I think,
You can.
now here,
2
here-
weeks.
yeah, here's the
Here
deal.
in 2 weeks.
I was thinking of nominating you to do this review.
All right.
And now, are you guys?
check- I can
are you
check.
guys willing to do this? Approval
Mhm.
with the planner to consult with you guys outside the meeting?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so that'll save you a week or something, but these guys are not going to be any easier, just because it's not at a meeting.
So are you in high fire zone? One last question.
in high fire zone, yes, I
You can't have vines on the house at all.
can't find them.
No vines on the house, no trees,
5-foot
Canopy.
distance, hardscape,
10 feet,
no trees overhanging.
nothing against the house within 5 feet plant wise in high fire zone.
State mandate, right?
That's not just starting in January, like 3 years ago. Yeah,
But the Palisades fire kind of,
they're getting really, yeah. So you can't count on those vines. Do you know what I mean?
Cover, yeah,
To cover and do what you wanted. So just think about it. But yeah, we'll help you move it along faster.
okay, so this is Veronica. Okay, so I will move for preliminary and final with the following comments. Study the wall thicknesses at the major openings on the new work. Reconsider the design of the arches at the entry to another form,
Material leave.
another material form. Restudy the entry gate. The entry gate pilasters, thank you.
It's fine.
Complete the landscape plan and in particular the Wucols.
It's called-
WUCOLS, Kimberly. And study the light fixture to ensure that it is night sky compliant. Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? So you can't get a permit for 10 days anyway, okay, because of the appeal period.
Slow us down. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you now. Good luck with that project. Item number 3, last item for today. Is there anybody here? Oh, Zach, you're here, right? Okay, so 500 Meadowwood Lane, correct setbacks on site plan, provide landscape plan, provide photo documentation of the existing site wall and the hedge along north and east property line. One member cannot support project given the proximity of the pool and cabana to the adjacent properties.
All right, so this is our second time here. Grant was originally handling this one, but he moved to New Orleans, so I'm taking over for him. But this is a very modest project.
Mardi Gras.
Huh?
Mardi Gras, right? Yeah.
Mardi Gras.
Day or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, very modest project, a very small 400 or so square foot cabana, a new pool and a couple new trellis structures, as well as a new trash area and a new generator area. So if you want to go to the site plan, so Katie from RMM is on Zoom, so she's going to discuss the landscape after me. So if you could move forward to the site plan, that would be good.
The page number?
A 1.0. There you go. Okay, so in the northeast corner, we have the cabana, and the south setback line was shown incorrectly last time. So that's been corrected to 10 feet. And we have a tiny bit of encroachment into that, which is fine with the variable setbacks. And I think that hedge was kind of a question last time. And we do have a photo of it. Actually, it's more in the beginning of the set, if you want to look at that. The third page, G2.00. So if you can go to if you go to number 11 or photo 11 on page 3. There you go. Yeah, so that is looking eastward. The residence is on your right. And so that back corner there is where the cabana is going to be cut into the hill, and then the pool will be in front of it towards us. So that's a massive hedge, and it's about a 5 to 6 foot elevation change to like where the roots begin. So it's very well screened from the neighbor. There's an existing CMU wall behind it. And the neighboring residence is quite far away from the property line. And it's part of the property where they don't use it very much. I've actually been on the property, and it's the whole backyard is on the other side of the house. So it's really seems to be very separated from what we're doing here. So back to site plan, please. So other improvements are the two pergolas on the top left. So those are both covered and just typical plaster columns, wood beams, and a TNG ceiling. And then we have on the bottom of the page to the south of the garage is where the new generator and trash area is. And again, just a very simple 5-foot CMU stucco wall. And the last little bit is the barbecue, which is just to the north of the kitchen. If you want to move along. These are just blow-up plans of the pergolas. Keep going. Roof plans. Blow-up plans of the trash area. So here's our cabana, very simple form, just matching the existing main house, essentially. Tile roof, wood beams, plaster facade, and a nice kind of open pergola in front of it off the pool there. The pool will have a stone cap on the fountain wall to match the kind of the concrete hardscape. Elevations, keep going. Elevations of the pergolas. Again, very simple plaster columns with profiled base and cap. Barbecue is all stucco as well, and then a stainless steel cabinetry in front. This is the CMU and stucco trash area. Keep going. Here's a section through the pool, which shows kind of this like terraced fountain and retaining wall. And then we've kind of given an idea for that humongous hedge behind it, which is very looming over the property. Window and door schedules, very simple. And here are our details, which again, kind of match the main house, but we're trying to recess the windows in a bit to give it that Mediterranean feel, which the main house does not do. And then these are details of the pergola. Were there any other comments that I was supposed to address?
I don't think so. Did Katie have anything that she wants to?
Yeah, so I think she's on Zoom.
Yes,
So
I'm
I'll let her take
here.
it from here.
I'll quickly run through the landscape plans and happy to answer any questions. Oh, we want to start at the beginning of our set. I'll walk through. Yeah, this sheet's perfect. So this is our tree protection plan. There are existing oaks on site. We're protecting all of them. We're only removing some small palms and some small ornamental plum trees and a small magnolia tree. So no significant removals. You want to go to the next sheet or the hardscape sheet, keep going. This sheet, so minor updates to existing landscape, gravel paths. We have some gravel parking, a new lawn where a lawn was already existing. We are adding some bocce to the west side, and then a seating area to the west and a water feature. And you can see the materials at the bottom. We are doing a few tree wells at some new citrus in the slope, some raised beds. And you can kind of see an image of what that water feature would look like. And then we do have concrete, colored concrete for the patios, and we'll have diamondia joints in some areas where we have paths for concrete pavers. You want to go to the next sheet. Keep going. Here's the planting, and thank you. You did have an exhibit that I asked to be shown. I think it just tells the story a little bit of the images of what the character is, and then all these different areas. You can kind of get an understanding. Pretty simple palette. If you want to go back to the plan, I'll just quickly walk through the new trees as well. There's existing oaks, as mentioned. We're adding a couple new olives. There's existing olives on site, and then we're adding some new citrus trees as well. Under the oaks, we're trying to minimize planting and just have native plants. We have a new podocarpus hedge wrapping the whole property. And then on the west side, we have the seating area that, and a little fountain area with planting around it that is more of a garden feel. And then if you want to go to the next sheet, I just have a minor lighting plan. I'll show you. We just are putting new path lights. Maybe this is our irrigation. Keep going. So we just have a small path light in a few areas, and that's all we're proposing. Happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Questions? Stacy, please.
I don't, did you consider on that fountain wall, is the purpose of it to noise abate for the neighbor to the north?
Yeah, that's part of it. And it's also just, there's a pretty large grade change there. So it'd feel kind of harsh just to have a big 6-foot tall wall there. So it just kind of softens the pool with that kind of extra terrace step.
Did you think about lowering it so that you could actually see the water feature more from inside the house and the cabana? Because it
I think
seems to be up kind of high from a person sitting on the deck.
Uh-huh. Um,
There's not much engagement with the water itself, it seems,
Let me check if that dimension is in here.
in looking at your section. Just, it feels like, I'm just wondering if you didn't consider like maybe not making it feel so removed
It looks to be about 18 inches above
above.
grade or above the hardscape.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
there's a photo that's kind of inspiring on the material board. If we could pull that up.
Yeah, that was what, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the height that we're going for. It's a little different because obviously the water's coming out of the
Yeah,
base there, but
back to the other sheet with his rendering. That's what, yeah, it's very different than your inspiration. I like the inspiration. Yeah, no, go back, David, you were just there. There we are. Okay, but this is what's really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then questions, Katie, looking at the planting, curious, why so sparse?
We wanted to keep it more naturalistic under the oaks, and then the client really just wanted things to not be cluttered and clean. So we're just being really simplistic with it.
Okay, those are my questions.
Bill, questions, please.
What are those three little rectangles? If you go from the parking there in the front, and there's like a little path that leads you through like a shrub line. Are those little
Okay.
planter beds or something? You see those on the right side of the house there, just before you get to the pool cabana,
Yeah, those are raised beds.
raised
Right
planter
there.
beds. Okay, all right.
Yeah, veggie beds.
That's all. Thanks.
Dave, questions, please.
Questions?
Robert, questions.
No questions.
I have no questions. Public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 500 Meadowwood Lane, please?
No requests.
Okay, comments. We are on for preliminary and final. Stacy, comments, please.
I think my main comment has to do with the planting, really. I think it feels too sparse in areas, and I think it needs to get thickened up, even if it's native and ground covers. I'm just concerned that it looks a little underplanted in some of the areas when looking at the species. And then my other thing is more contact with that backwater feature. Just think about it, consider it. It's not a condition of my approval, but overall, everything else looks pretty good on this, and I think it's ready to move forward.
Bill, comments, please.
Yeah, notwithstanding Stacy's comments to landscape, I would approve it as submitted.
Dave, please, comments.
Same, Bill.
Robert, please.
Again, my pet peeve, I mean, you said you created reveal, but I'm looking at a drawing that shows very thin walls for what is going towards the Spanish Mediterranean and which would emulate a masonry building. And I'd encourage, again, bigger openings to thicken the walls a bit. But other than that, my only other concern is these uses, like the bocce court and the pool, are pretty close to the side yards, but appears to be so well screened that I don't have a problem with it. So I think it could move on forward.
It's next to the street, right?
Yep.
On the left-hand side is Sycamore Canyon, right?
Yeah, and there's a very, 6 foot tall wall and it's all going to be hedged. So it's going to be pretty well screened.
No neighbor for 50 feet or 75 feet.
Okay, yeah, so I'm fine with the project.
Do we have wall sections and stuff? That's gonna answer his questions. Do you have wall sections?
For the cabana? Yeah,
Where?
that's 4.0. Yeah, go back. Yeah, so bottom.
How do we know that's a 2x6 wall, please?
Mm,
Yeah, A800, 6A.
Yeah, so all the details are keyed. Yeah, if you kind of go to the bottom
Are
right.
you good with that? You're okay with it?
8, right?
That's a 2x6.
They inset it as best they could, I guess. The
Well, that's,
furring piece there.
I'm okay with that considering.
Yeah, and I don't have anything further. What I heard was forest planting, and I, love you, but is, there's not a lot of water use there, right?
No.
Do you
That's
think
fine. I mean, I just-
aesthetically, is it just void?
It's a suggestion. I would still approve it.
You would approve it as it is? Okay.
Yes,
And what about the fountain?
I would approve it as it is. It's just a suggestion. I didn't say it was conditional.
We'll fine tune it.
Yeah,
Or do you want to make the motion then, Stacy?
sure. Move it to
Preliminary,
preliminary final
Submitted
as submitted
with the suggestion.
with some suggestions to pick up more planting and to fine tune the fountain. That's it. I think that's.
I'll second that.
all it.
Okay with that?
Yeah.
Bill seconds that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Carried unanimously. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we are done and it is now 12:13 according to my phone. Yeah, 2:13. Do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'll move to adjourn today's meeting.
Is there a second, please? All those in favor?
Aye.